Wormsloe, a name that echoes the roots of its 18th century English founders and its era as a silkworm plantation, is renowned for its epic beauty and historical significance, and most recently for its additional role as the home to the Wormsloe Institute for Environmental History. Wormsloe has been deemed the most significant, independent, and virtually undisturbed site in the state of Georgia for its Native American, colonial, and Civil War settlements and burial grounds. The importance of this site is unveiled, layer by layer, as visitors drive along its historic avenue under a canopy of mature live oak trees to explore centuries of human occupation. The Wormsloe Institute was founded to conserve this unique place while promoting the study of environmental history on site and in context with the adjacent region of coastal Georgia. Environmental history examines the interwoven layers of cultural history and historical land use practices and relies heavily on the fields of anthropology, history, and ecology to structure questions in a mutually supportive arrangement. Merging anthropological, historical, and ecological studies in the progression of land use enriches both data collection and analysis and results in the most comprehensive representation of time and place. Wormsloe's historically rich landscape, with its generations of meticulous documentation of human activity, provides unsurpassed opportunities for academic research, education, and community outreach. At Wormsloe, research teams rely on an extensive archive of historical documents and long-term information bases as they collect new data and synthesize an unprecedented description of this unique site on the Georgia coast. A thorough understanding of the history of human activity and the environment is fundamental to our interpretation of the landscape today, and is critical as we establish stewardship protocols for the land and its historic legacies. Wormsloe, claimed and developed by founding Georgia colonist Noble Jones in the mid-1730s, is the oldest of Georgia's tidewater estates. Wormsloe has played an important role in Georgia history, serving as a critical strategic military post in the early defense of Savannah against the Spanish, a working agricultural plantation during the era of slavery, and a source of unrivaled collection of books of manuscripts related to Georgia history from colonial times to the present day. The contents of the Duran Library at Wormsloe became part of the University of Georgia's Rare Books and Manuscripts collection in 1938. Reinforcing a lasting relationship between Wormsloe and the university. 9 generations have succeeded Noble Jones at Wormsloe, and each has supported scholarly endeavors which today form the groundwork for research related to the property. Over the last century, each generation has strengthened ties with UGA through support for academic research, education, the libraries, and the university press. The Wormsloe Institute continues this family legacy by working in partnership with UGA to support multidisciplinary research on site. UGA faculty, graduate students, and the Wormsloe Science Advisory Council work collaboratively to develop research initiatives and coordinate long-term goals. Wormsloe's coastal location, advantageous for travel, communication, fishing, and hunting, attracted residents well before colonial times. Native American occupation of the area dates to 4000 BC. Evidence indicates long use of nearby islands, rivers, and coastal areas by native inhabitants. As yet largely unexplored, Wormsloe is thought to be replete with Native American archaeological artifacts in addition to artifacts of the colonial and Civil War eras. The property also has significant natural resource value, featuring the unique ecosystems of the coastal salt marsh environment and associated uplands. The area, which was explored and documented by several prominent early naturalists, including John and William Bartram, supports important native plant and animal species. Much of the Wormsloe property was transferred to the state in the 1970s. The Georgia Department of Natural Resources, or DNR, opened 822 acres to the public as the Wormsloe Historic Site in 1979. This site features a museum, a nature trail, interpretation of colonial and Native American life, and several historic features, including the ruins of Noble Jones' fortified Tabby residence and fort and the Jones family cemetery. The Barrow family still own and occupy approximately 65 acres, including the main house originally constructed in 1828, a detached library completed in 1908, and formal gardens and surrounding grounds. The Wormsloe Foundation owns an adjacent, unrestricted, and undeveloped 15-acre parcel with a historic cabin. The collaboration between DNR, as the manager of the historic site, and the Barrow family is a public-private partnership with a shared goal of conserving the legacy, integrity, and beauty of this exceptional place. Our vision is for Wormsloe to be conserved in its natural state for future generations while supporting on-site research and educational programming for today's scholars. Due to Wormsloe's advantageous location, relatively undisturbed landscape, and extensive range of historical uses, Wormsloe harbors a rare and significant concentration of undiscovered archaeological resources. It provides a unique and exemplary opportunity to serve as an archaeological research center and field laboratory, as well as a site for demonstration of archaeological research techniques and interpretation of coastal Georgia history, anthropology, and ecology. The current program of use provides working space for a small group of researchers involved in archaeological field and lab work and ecological investigations. The Wormsloe Institute opened a fully equipped conservation field laboratory on site in 2008, which provides facilities for archival protection and conservation of artifacts collected on the property. Housing is available at Wormsloe for faculty and graduate students supported by the Wormsloe Institute. Members of the Wormsloe Science Advisory Council represent broad areas of research as well as policy and strategic planning and science education. The Wormsloe Science Advisory Council has identified 3 broad and overlapping areas of study: anthropology, history, and ecology. Integration of these disciplines and the resulting increase in understanding was the genesis for the creation of the Wormsloe Institute. An emerging recognition of the importance of historical documentation by scientists has broadened the framework of ecological research. Concurrently, there is a growing appreciation by historians of the value of scientific analysis of excavated material evidence. This format, the interface of traditional disciplines, fosters investigations of historical legacies of coastal Georgia as revealed through pioneering cultural and environmental studies. Through a combination of historical, cultural, and ecological approaches, this innovative relationship of disciplines investigates the link between critical social transitions and ecological responses. This emergent paradigm supports the application of historical insights to conservation in a temporal and spatial context. Archaeologists, historians, and ecologists collaborating on a single site provide a robust synthesis where the whole is truly greater than the sum of its parts. The Wormsloe Institute currently contributes to the knowledge base of environmental history through ongoing studies that encompass both field research and analysis of historical documents. Wormsloe Fellows are focused on both the subsurface repository of artifacts and the concurrent examination of relevant archival materials. Working in tandem, Wormsloe Fellows collect data which mutually support and inform several disciplinary approaches. Multiple types of geophysical techniques are currently employed to better assess and understand the lateral extent, depth, composition, and origin of near-surface archaeological features. Simultaneously, reconstruction of land use history at Wormsloe is underway based on relevant archival collections at UGA's Hargret Library. Both field investigations and assessment of historical documents are geographically referenced and integrated into the burgeoning GIS mapping database developed by UGA's Center for Remote Sensing and Mapping Science. As additional geophysical and archival data are collected, opportunities for long-term research continue to evolve and expand. The Wormsloe Institute Seminar Series features scholarly presentations on topics relevant to environmental history. Nationally recognized historians, anthropologists, and ecologists present the culmination of decades of research which contribute to this interdisciplinary study. Sponsored by the Wormsloe Institute, seminars are held alternatively in the library at Wormsloe and on the campus of UGA. UGA libraries host a website that facilitates access to some of the most important maps, photographs, and historical documents from the Duren collection. Critical to the team approach, This website allows multiple individuals from numerous geographical locations to simultaneously examine documents. The Science Library at UGA is host to a growing collection of podcasts which feature the interdisciplinary nature of the study of Wormsloe and the unique research project across the university supported by the Wormsloe Institute. Easily accessible, the Wormsloe Institute podcasts are designed to encourage engagement by individuals and classes interested in a broad variety of disciplines. Wormsloe's natural and cultural resources provide unparalleled opportunities to develop cutting-edge research initiatives with a focus on environmental history. Wormsloe provides long-term stability for research, funding assistance, and support for researchers with on-site housing and laboratory. Wormsloe's landscape, modified through continuous use since prehistoric times, is well suited to provide educational programs, exhibits, and demonstrations to visitors from Georgia and across the nation. Supporting field research, a conservation laboratory, demonstration site for archaeological research techniques, and education programs, the Wormsloe Institute provides valuable assets in the exploration of Georgia's coastal environmental history.